Okay, so that's the introduction here. Part of the reason I'm printing out these pages, which you're seeing on the bottom of the screen as I'm reading, is that I've discovered that there's a possibility, if I've got too much stuff going on, in fact anything else happening with my computer, it can tend to create a lag between the video and the audio. So we don't want that. I just checked the reading I just did and it's fine. So I can't read off the screen, which I otherwise, I suppose, might do. Though I think it's probably simpler for me, and hopefully it's not too distracting for you for me to read from the text here. The working manuscript, and we'll see what other changes I might make in an ultimate printed book. Who knows, maybe I'll go through this whole project again. I'm just going forward here. I've gotten some good feedback from a few people that they're appreciating this, and that's really gratifying for me. It helps persuade me that this is certainly worth doing, but on another level, really to me it's so important to create these documents, and I guess I should tell you a little story. The famous, it's really hard to put words on him, cultural philosopher, wisdom teacher, Ken Wilber, is a kind of I guess you could say a friend, certainly a friend of Linda's and mine. Each of us has a strong heart connection with him, and he with each of us. Supports our work strongly, always has. He was the first one to endorse my awakening and my work, and stake his reputation on bringing me to others' attention in a positive way. And Linda and I spent some time with Ken and his then partner Marcy back in the early 2000s. And at one point, they gave us a camcorder. And at the time, with his typical dry wit, Ken says to me, "Now, Saniel, don't take this as a criticism, but your writing is actually your least effective way of communicating to people. Audio is better. Video is far better than that. Really, in person is best, so that people can get your whole communication. But we want to give you this camcorder so that you'll start using video." Well, we made a few videos in all these intervening years, and Linda and I have always been very grateful to Ken and Marcy for that that gift at that time. And now for me, it's and I'm late to the game. I mean, so many other teachers have hundreds and hundreds of videos posted all over the place. We're just getting to the early 21st century here. But it means an enormous amount to me to be creating these, what are in effect legacy documents that you and others will have access to, hopefully for a long, long time after my tenure on this planet. And this book that I'm working on, this event that I'm creating here, this communication, does feel to me to be extremely important. So, a few comments about the introduction. This whole matter of serving just by being is something that one of my, well, really my most how would I describe him? I suppose you could say my main disciple. Part of why I'm stumbling with the words is I don't often think of myself as having disciples, but there's a young man named Jed Bentley who works very closely with both Linda Ma and me. And several years ago, Jed asked if serving by being, a phrase he came up with, was as important as serving by doing things. And I immediately latched onto the phrase and have been using it ever since. And in many ways, as I'm suggesting here in this introduction to the book, The Sun in Your Heart is Rising, in many ways, to me, my sense is that my serving by being, really ever since my work began with my awakening and the activation of transmission in late 1992, especially since the spring of 1994 when I moved into the quality of that awakeness that I call the white heat. And we'll be talking about all this more as the book goes on. But ever since those times, it's been just obvious to me that what I'm mostly doing is serving just by being. Being here as I am. Feeling, knowing, being that sun in my heart is the same sun as the sun in your heart. That I am being that life that you are being. Even while mysteriously we are very distinct beings, and in so many ways there are distinctions and differences and boundaries between us that are important for both me and you to acknowledge, and we'll be exploring that as these sessions go on. Nonetheless, if you were to quantify it, I've been aware for some time now that it's 90 to 99% of what I feel I'm really all about is simply serving by being, serving by simply being. The doing is important, as I indicate here. And I don't mean to make light of that, but the being work, and it is a kind of another paradox I didn't say in the introduction here. It's a work. Weirdly, though it's effortless, serving by being takes a kind of toll. Maybe the admixture of that with all the doing and all the activity in the 3D world of subject-object phenomena. I don't know how to explain it exactly. I'm sure most likely I'll be trying to as we go along. But that serving by being is central, and that's what's going on here also underneath and always present in and as and through what I'm communicating verbally, and what I'm communicating by gazing into your eyes and meeting you here such as this meeting can take place. It's my great pleasure and blessing to be able to do this. Another point that I made here that's worth commenting on just briefly is what I mean by being here isn't merely about this body's continued life here in this physical incarnation. And it has become part of that great confidence in being, that my presence will be active and alive and communicative for you and others, to everyone everywhere, long beyond the death of this body. And that doesn't seem to me to be a grandiose statement. It's more simply what appears factually true. It would appear to me to be some kind of conceited what am I wanting to say here? Excuse me. It would be an imposition on reality, an untrue addition to propose otherwise. And it seems to me that that's true of every one of us. And I'll be talking more about that as we go through the various essays.